On March 25th of 2006, Jeff Gorton was named interim general manager of the Boston Bruins. The franchise decision came after 5 seasons of mixed results under GM Mike O'Connell, who is perhaps most recognized for trading Joe Thornton in exchange for a bag of hockey pucks. In the lockout season prior to Gorton's promotion, the Bruins embraced other significant changes, opting not to resign Michael Nylander, Brian Rolston, Sean O'Donnell, Mike Knuble, and Sergei Gonchar. O'Connell alleged that Bruins owner Jeremy Jacobs refused to re-sign the players in question, who were all brought in under O'Connell's leadership, and after Thornton was shipped to San Jose, where he immediately won the Hart Trophy, the writing was on the wall. In a time of uncertainty for the NHL as a whole, the Bruins were in the midst of a full-blown identity crisis. As a band-aid of sorts, in stepped Jeff Gorton. The Massachusetts native originally joined the Bruins in 1992, starting as a scout. In the years to come, Gorton quickly worked his way up the franchise ladder, becoming a fixture in the Bruins scouting and drafting process. In the years prior to his interim promotion, Gorton was retroactively credited with his drafting decisions, selecting the likes of Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci, and Chris Versteeg. When prompted with his first NHL draft as GM of the Bruins, Gorton's luck continued on. At the 2006 draft, the Bruins selected Phil Kessel 5th overall. In the second round, at 50th overall, Gorton opted for the skill and size of Milan Lucic. As a cherry on top, the Bruins also took a swing on Brad Marchand in the third round with the 71st overall pick. At that same draft, Gorton would also pull the trigger on his first major trade as a GM in the NHL, sending Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for goaltending prospect Tuukka Rask. Turning the page to free agency, Gorton and the Bruins would commit significant term and capital to 2 big names. On July 1st of 2006, the Bruins inked 29-year-old Zdeno Chara to a 5-year, $37.5 million contract. To coincide, Boston also signed Marc Savard to a 4-year, $20 million deal. 2 weeks later, Gorton was reinserted as assistant GM when the Bruins officially named Peter Chiarelli as their permanent general manager. In June of 2007, Gorton was relieved of his duties altogether before taking a gig with the New York Rangers just a few months later. For any NHL team in the midst of an interim GM situation, I think it's safe to say that a lot of decisions surely come by committee, but in Gorton's case, I think it's equally safe to say that his influence on such decisions was more than significant given his tenure and experience within the Bruins organization. The point of this quick analysis/overview was to highlight an incredibly rare impact by an interim general manager. Chara, Marchand, Rask, and Lucic became fixtures and faces of a Bruins core that dominated through the 2010s, highlighted by a championship in 2011 and 2 other trips to the Stanley Cup Final in 2015 and 19. And that's not even taking into account his selections of Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci. To say that luck played a role in the turnout of all of these roster decisions would be an understatement. But this isolated stretch of decisions is truly an outlier in the world of management. He maybe doesn't have a ring to show for it, but Gorton's fingerprints are all over the Bruins championship in 2011, and he also deserves credit for the organization's sustained success through the 2010s. For Happening Hockey, I'm Tate Lake Craft.